Yesterday I attempted to record a breakdown live in stream of the video that we're covering today, and as you can see, it didn't quite go as planned. The other one, if I remember. So today I'm going to go over everything in the story update video and seeing if there's anything that we've missed. The start of the video covers what their plan originally was to implementing the story into the game. Now, given a lot of players wanted a narrative as to why we were building these massive factories, and I think the little snippets that they gave us at the time were just enough to get us hungry for the story. But obviously 5 years in early access has given them plenty of time to really understand what the community wants and how it will fit in with the game. And personally, though I want to know the story, I'm glad that they chose to omit it from the game during early access. But it does mean come 1.0, we are going to have this complete experience to enjoy from start to finish. And Snook goes on to mention one of the iterations of the story was much larger and grandeur, something they felt that they wouldn't be able to make good on their promise, especially given the lead writer Hannah was also in charge of leading the world update, which has been a huge job on its own. So with that in mind, they've stripped it back and gone for the middle ground of a good story that they can complete ready for 1.0. They also don't want the story to be too disruptive to the key part of the game, which obviously is factory building. So rather than having cutscenes, we'll likely have interjections from Ada breaking down lore. We'll also be able to go back and read through any communication that we've had, so you're not going to miss anything if you do skip it by accident. Now, unfortunately though, everything that we knew about the story prior to 1.0 will be retconned, meaning it's all changing. So no Katarina Parks or Steve, which does actually bring the name of Caterium into question. Will this actually change because it is named after the original CEO of FICSIT, which is Katarina Parks? Honestly, it doesn't affect the game in any way, so I'm not bothered. Now, we also know at least part of the narrative will be unlocked based on our progression through the milestones, though I don't expect this to be the sole form of story progression, given Snook also mentioned some storylines will be unlocked by proximity, presumably to a story-related object, which sounds to me like we will have more of a reason to go out and explore the world come 1.0 as well. But these objects won't necessarily include the Mercer Spheres or Summer Sloop, as these are no longer tied directly to the story. This furthers my belief actually that they will be used in some kind of late game technology, such as for building things like teleporters, whether that's player or item teleportation, because by tying them to a specific buildable, it means there'll be a limit as to how many of these we can build, stopping them from being used in every situation and making them OP. But then again, I am just speculating here. Now, we then get a little breakdown of the lore so far as to why we're heading to Massage 2 ABB, and I do recommend listening to the full video for the breakdown if that's something you're interested in. But I wanted to point out some of the changes that we can see in the world, such as the waterfall rework that we can see here, and I've spoken multiple times about this, which was teased back in, I believe it was update 4, and with it also came some physics to water, allowing hogs to be flung and travel downstream from the strength of the waterfalls, which does actually get me wondering if we're also going to be seeing that in 1.0 as well. Now, the Summer Sloop that we can see here is particularly beautiful, if you ask me. I love how it's kind of entwined with the world sucking its energy, almost as if it's being used to terraform the world around us. Whether that's actually a thing, I don't know. I mean, that was my original thoughts when it came to the story, pre-retconning all of this. The next shot is particularly interesting as it shows off either a new node or a reskin of what I actually believe is the SAM ore. I'm basing this off the green and pink tinge, which we can see on the current SAM ore, and this does also suggest that the new gas or liquids that we saw in the previous videos could be extracted from this, especially given it looks semi-fluid with the bluey specks moving throughout the ore node itself. I'm also really impressed with the bacon agaric rework. I think it looks great, and more importantly, the water that we can see here seems to be reworked. Also, pay attention to the egg hatcher here. It's the same one that we currently see in the game, and it's a good reference for later. And Ada also has this nice little new graphical pop-up when speaking. Now the next shot, is clearly in the Spire Coast, and I thought at first we could see oil in the water here as well as in the background. Then it occurred to me that this is a new skin for the oil nodes. On top of this, given the perspective, it's hard to tell, but the black liquid we can see that's behind and also to the side looks like oil, but actually, given the way that it's rippling, it actually looks more like water and the new skin that we saw earlier. Now, our next shot is also rather interesting. The swamp appears to have had its filter adjusting, making it slightly less dingy. But if you look closely, you can also see what looks like a new variant of the hatches, given it looks wider but also has the yellow rather than the orange highlighting to it. Now, whether this is a more aggressive alpha type of flying crab or one that releases larger swarms, we don't know, but it does look larger than the current variant that we have in game. Next, we have the new hub UI, which looks really clean. It also looks to confirm that there are only 9 tiers that are going to be made available to us. Now, all of this is working towards the Save the Day project, trying to save Earth from peril, and we can only help by sending resources up the space elevator. And this cam tilting upwards is gorgeous, giving us a clear view of project assembly. Now, we know that this is presumably the first phase of the space elevator, with them working towards the second phase parts thanks to the early game factory that we can see here. Now, presumably as you launch phases, the space elevator is developed and expanded on, and I love the detail of the little pods being sent to the individual areas, and it suddenly looks like it's either a ring that's going to be built up and then can dock with a ship so that you can send items back to Earth, or perhaps Project Assembly is the ship that we're going to be building, which is what I thought we were building all along based on the parts that we were building, you know, like modular engines and the likes and thermal propulsion rockets. Now, originally it was suggested to be a food court, and perhaps that will remain an Easter egg in the game, but who knows given everything has been retconned. And it does kind of leave me wondering, are we going to be sending resources back to Earth, or maybe we're preparing Earth for humanity? But that isn't everything. At the end, we also hear Frankenstein Ada, I mean that's what we're calling it for the time being, speaking a few rather confusing lines. Now, I tried breaking down what was being said in stream, and I came up with,
"Your waves lap at our shores. When will you land? To file the scripture.
There awaits a lab at our shores. When will you land to file the structure?" I'm not sure if this is correct, given chat was screaming at me so many other different thoughts, but the most notable thing, which everyone seemed to agree, was the waves lap at our shores. When will you learn to file the scripture? Which definitely takes a more biblical sense. Now, I don't want to break down the possible meanings in this video, but I think I have something I could share with you maybe in another video coming soon. But if you do have any thoughts yourselves on what's being said or what it means, do let me know in the comments below. But what does seem certain is there's more to Planet Massage 2 ABB than meets the eye. I say planet, it's a moon, isn't it? I should get that right. But anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to all of our supporters over on Patreon, most notably our Solo Clips Patreon, Firefless, as well as our Lunas, the Calamity, Ben, and Star, and our Blood Moon of the day, which today is Papa Snoozy. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.